Hello, friends. As a city finance director, I've had to be the guardian of the city's budgets, audits, course corrections, and forecasts. And one of the very public tools we all have at our disposal is regular economic data. However, I have a pet peeve with inflation reporting. Anyone can go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and get mountains of data directly. Anyone can take that data and report it, and someone definitely should. But have you noticed what gets reported in the news? No matter where you look these days, you read that inflation is coming down, and we all know that prices are going up. So right now, in less than 5 minutes, I hope, I'm going to show you the real data, what it tells us, and how you too can stop relying on others. If you do forecasting and budgeting for your city, you need to know how to get the facts about inflation and make them useful for your city budget and reporting. This is the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and this is the data table for the entire United States going back 10 years. I'm not going to discuss or argue how they come up with it or which data table you should use, and there are lots of regional ones. I just want you to see where the data comes from and how to perform basic calculations to make it useful to you. Let's start with this data table that has the price index for all U.S. cities. There's a column for every month and a row for every year starting with 2013. Let's scroll down and look at just the table. At the recording of this video, they've posted through July 2023. If we want to get really technical, the data is out to 3 decimal places, and this will sort of matter when we start doing calculations. Now, if we scroll down a little bit further, the first bit of math is already done for us, and this is generally as far as the newspaper or news on the internet reports go. Just to show you what I mean, January 2023 says that inflation has increased 6.4% over January 22. Here's where that comes from. 299.170 divided by 281.148 is 106.4%. So we subtract 1 and we've got 6.4%, and they're multiplying by 100 to show it as 6.4. That calculation for every month compared to the same month in the previous year results in this graph. Here's the 6.4%, and every number on this graph compares itself to the same month the previous year. But that's not the whole story, and that's my pet peeve. This graph shows inflation decreasing. However, clearly we understand that prices, the cost of things, increased every single month. It just started increasing less. So how do we show inflation that we know is real, that we can relate to in real life, and that we can also forecast using reality for a basis? Like this. Let's just scroll back to the original data. This is where I want to get to. I want you to see this and be able to do this for your regional data or the national data. I could simply graph these numbers. However, I think that's abstract, and I want to make it concrete for the viewer. Let's take June of 2023, for example, where the index says 305.109. If I want to compare that to January 2021, I can see that it's up 16.64%. Something that costs $100 in January of 2021 now costs $116.64. I can do this calculation very simply every single month comparing to January 2021, and it produces a cumulative graph like this. There's the 116.64 and the cumulative price index starting from the beginning of my city's fiscal year in 2021. This shows my city's inflation experience in the current year and the 2 years prior. By setting the start at $100, it's much more understandable, I think, to anyone. And that's important because I think we want to communicate our city's financial story as simply and clearly as we can. So what do you do with this now? Well, for one thing, you can update this graph and share it in your city every month, and not just in your annual budget message. You are the numbers expert. Communicate to the people who want to believe that you have your thumb on the pulse of what's going on. Where I live, I can look at regional data. I have a Seattle-Tacoma-Bellevue data set that the Bureau of Labor Statistics puts out every other month. I can use the same exact methodology and produce 2 graphs for my city that are pretty similar, but show the data for my city. It's still not city specific, but it gets me inflation data that's a lot closer. And one way it matters is that if my city's sales tax revenue, which is city specific, goes up 10%, but I know inflation has gone up 6%, then it's important to know that. I have to strip out inflation before I can draw conclusions about how my local economy is expanding, or maybe contracting and I didn't realize it. I can also apply inflation to my budgeted expenditures. Labor rates may be fairly structured, but seeing whether they're keeping up with inflation requires more than just a monthly snapshot. For actual budgeting, the cost of materials and liability insurance and employee benefits and vehicles and capital project materials have exposure to inflation. This allows you to forecast better. At the end of the day, you need to know your city. Take what you know and combine it with the economic data that we have available. I hope this has been helpful. I'd appreciate your feedback and comments as I consider future content, but I really hope this reaches others who need it. Take action yourself by getting familiar with the inflation data available for your region. Put it out a graph to your city governing body or management team every month. In finance, our success lies in helping others succeed. This video aims to help you because it's your efforts that will contribute to the success of your city and make it a better place. Thanks for watching.